You're listening to Bright by Your Side with Jen Dyer. Up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science. Are you looking to live your life with more flow and ease? Every episode, she has enough surprising information and tips that you will be able to come away with at least one nugget that could change your life. You will learn to build resilience to stress and overwhelm, find joy every day, and manifest your dreams. Gain understanding of your little terrified human that is holding you back, and that brave, bright inner being that is nagging you to move forward. She's here to help you feel empowered to make that change. Bright by Your Side starts now.
Welcome to Bright by Your Side with Jen, up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science. Today, we're going to talk about anxiety and young people, and I'm so excited to have, someone who is working with them right now, our young people. My guest is Toni McKnabb. She's a licensed master social worker with Mind Body Optimization, which is a company that empowers people to meet their full potential and works with people to get through any of the issues that they have that are holding them back. And they use a multiple pronged approach to doing this, which really excites me. So welcome, Toni.
Hi, Jen. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yay. Okay, let's do this. Yeah. So, Toni, why don't you tell me, we'll talk about mind body optimization, what you guys offer, but I definitely want to talk about your background and what brought you to help young people.
Oh, absolutely. So, I went and got my undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And so I got a degree in philosophy, a bachelor's in philosophy, and also a bachelor's in social work. And after that, I traveled to Texas and I decided to go to the University of Texas at Arlington to pursue my master's in social work. And so, social work is really my passion, helping underserved communities. And so that is really what kind of kickstarted my therapy journey with wanting to help individuals from underserved communities. And so after that, I worked in a psychiatric hospital. I've
Mm,
worked in outpatient mental health clinics for adolescents, for adults. I've worked in outpatient substance use
oh my
programs. And
gosh.
so I've really worked in a lot of different
Yes.
areas and I've met so many amazing people. I've heard all of their different stories, and it's a very rewarding path. So,
And I just love that you actually been through all these different aspects of what can derail people and
yes,
help them get out of that, right?
yes.
So, yeah, so let's talk about mind body optimization. You give a rundown of as a whole the mission, which is a wonderful mission, and then also what you're doing and what kind of things are you seeing come through that door that seems to be the hot issue right now.
Absolutely. So mind body optimization is a definitely a one of a kind organization, one that I haven't seen that truly prioritizes individualized care. And
Mhm.
so here at MBO, we involve all of our clients in every single step of their treatment. And we definitely take what their goals are and their desires into how we best serve them.
Mhm.
And so ultimately, our mission is just driven in client care. I think that's something that is not often talked about and also not prioritized enough in the mental health care system.
Mhm.
Like I said, because our providers, our nurses, all of our providers here, we definitely look into what the client wants to work on and what they feel is their concern, and that's how we best serve them. So we don't ever tell them, oh, well, this is what you need to work on. We ask them, what do you think you need and how can we best serve you? And so that's kind of where the mission stands, just providing quality care and allowing the clients to tell us what they need.
Right. So they're actually empowered in driving how the direction that you guys take, as opposed to, like you said,
Yes.
just feeling like I worked in a group home. I have a degree in psychology, and I
Oh,
worked in a group home for teenage girls, ages
yes.
13 to 17,
I
right?
love
So
that population.
yes, yes. So we could talk. I totally know. And I know how difficult the system is. That's
Yes.
why I didn't stay there.
Yeah.
I was there for a couple years, and you know, it was just not, they were not getting what they needed. And that's why,
Yes.
the fact that I saw everything that you guys have to offer, just the variety of your staff, everything that you guys have. I was just thrilled that there are other options out there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And working with that population, it's so tough because the adolescence and our childhood influences our adulthood and who we are going to be
Hmm.
once we age out of the system. And so that's such a pivotal time period for people. And the work is definitely taxing, but also rewarding at the same time. And so I love my adolescence.
I do too. And that's why, I do want to help these young folks because
Yes.
these teenagers, they're so smart. They're so smart
Yes.
and they're so aware of all of the things that are going wrong.
Yes.
And then we have social media on top of it where,
Yes.
our normal social anxiety is a normal thing because exile was death. I was talking about exile was death back in the tribe days, right? Like
Yep.
you needed your tribe. You had to worry about what they thought about you. But now your tribe is this global thing that's telling you to eat Tide Pods to be cool. I mean, it's just so confusing. It's all based on likes and it's all based
Yes.
on so this whole before it used to just be a couple hundred people in your village and and now it's like this craziness and it's almost like it's too much information. They don't know where to go. So I totally this so I've been seeing I have a grown daughter. She's
Oh,
she's 26 now. She has a she's an epidemiologist. She's yeah, I know. So they're working on a drug trial on a medication for Africa just to in Liberia. So I mean
that
she's
is
like
so cool.
I know she's lived. She went. She's been to Africa a couple times, working with this clinic out in the nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, I know, so cool. But we went through high school, and as a parent, so many of her friends were on medication. So
Yes.
many of her friends were. I mean, she had a roommate who, in college, who never left the room. Like my
Yes.
daughter couldn't use the room. She had to leave the room in the morning, and she couldn't go in there until bedtime, because this girl suffered so badly from anxiety. So, what what things do you believe are contributing to it? And then how are you guys helping there at Mind Body Optimization?
Yeah. And I mean, Jen, you've already really touched on such a huge influence in anxiety with our youth right now. It is social media. Social media is dangerous because it allows us to look into other people's lives and it opens up a window for comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have kids that we're going through puberty, they're trying to figure out who they are, what they like, their interests, all these different things to add that level of difficulty into it. It just kind of it disrupts a lot of their identity development that takes place during that time period. And so social media, Instagram is a really big one. Also, Snapchat, they're very quick. Their photos, their videos, and the thing is that um, people are not taking pictures of the things that are negative in their life,
Mm-hmm.
right? People are only taking pictures of the things that you want them to see, right? So they're in a relationship or they're taking pictures of the vacations and the proms and they're taking pictures of all of these beautiful cutesy temporary moments and that is
Mm-hmm.
what they're putting online for other people to see. And so when you are an individual where maybe you came from kind of like a broken household and maybe you don't have two parents and you're going through all these different things and all we're doing is just kind of mindlessly scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, that would allow somebody else to compare themselves to what they see online. Oh, well, why don't I look like this? Why don't I have this type of person in my life? Why don't I have these different types of friends? And so, like I said, social media is so dangerous right now. And it's so important that we as parents educate our kids on what is real and what isn't, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Well, and I've come to and speaking to other adults who with teenagers
Yes.
that they really kind of believe that their negative emotions are a disorder. because everyone else is so perfectly happy that here they are feeling so insecure, or they're lonely, and so I must need medication. In fact, I had I was talking about this with my eye doctor. His daughter is learning how to drive. She's 15.
Yeah.
And she came to him they'd only been out a couple times, and she came to him before dinner one night and was like, Dad, I get anxious when we drive. I think I need anti-anxiety
Mhm.
medication. And it was like, we're all afraid to drive. Like, I mean, it was
Yes.
just like, yeah, this is normal. This is normal.
Yes.
But this is, and I was like, probably because half her friends are already taking it, and they're
Yep.
saying, yeah, I guess it helps. Yeah, sure. And so they think that being anxious is like this disorder,
Yep.
and worrying about driving, and I told him, she should be anxious and worried. She's operating a motor vehicle. I mean, I
Yes.
think she's smart. That's why she has those feelings. She has those feelings because she's smart. Now
Yes.
it's just about, remembering that time when you had to learn to ride a bike. You were
Mhm.
scared. I mean, all of these things, when you took your first steps as a baby, it was scary. You're going to fall down, right? I mean, it's just so, how do you get them to be in touch? I'm trying to think, what would help our parents who are listening to
Yeah.
this, who have either a child or a grandchild that's going through this thing. I mean, I have
Mhm.
my cousin's kids, they they suffer a lot from anxiety. So, um, yeah, what are you seeing about this whole emotional thing? Like, are they emotionally mature?
Yeah. So you bring up a really good point, and I want to touch on something that you mentioned a couple moments ago, which is your friend's daughter. She's 15, right? And maybe her peers are also on medications. And I just feel like with social media, it also opens up for people to like self-diagnose.
Oh, totally.
Like like, "Oh, well, I'm experiencing this one thing that must mean that I have anxiety, or that must mean that I have depression, or all these other things," when emotions are natural. That is
Hmm.
a natural body function. If it wasn't natural, then we wouldn't have them, right? And so I think it is kinda off-putting to people that you can feel other emotions other than just happiness and mad. Like there's more to
Right.
it, and all of those things are natural and normal. And so for our parents out there, I think something that we should definitely start, or at least double down on, is having those open conversations about social media, reminding our kids about what is real and what isn't, and reminding them that they are going through a transformation period right now, and it's okay for you to feel these different things, and that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. So really just having an open line of communication is number one for our kids, and also for our parents, reaching out to those people that are in your support system, right? So we have friends, right? And maybe our friends also have kids of their own. Collaborating with the people that love us and support us
Hmm.
are going to be a great way for us to, support our kids and help them get through this important time. Yeah.
We're going to talk more of this. It's time for us to take a break right now, but
Okay.
yeah, the support system, reaching out, that's going to be part of our tips at the end
Yes.
for these parents. I also do want to touch on, like, yeah, just um, what parents can take away, and also how
Yes.
parents need to watch what they're saying too, and
Oh,
be mindful
absolutely.
of the mindset that they're handing their children. If they're stressed out, like, hey, that's what life is. Get ready, get used to it. Then I need my medication now, just thinking about the next 90 years of horrible stress, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we'll talk about this. We're going to take a break right now.
Okay.
So stay tuned. We'll have Toni back, and we're going to talk about what you guys can do with your kids to make them resilient to anxiety and stress. Thank you. We'll see you in a minute here on Transformation Talk Radio. Welcome back to Bright by Our Side with Jen, up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science. And I'm here with Toni McKnabb from Mind Body Optimization, and we're kind of digging into anxiety in young people. So if you are a parent or a grandparent and you have a child in your family that is really struggling with anxiety, we have some wonderful tips here by the end of the show, but we're going to talk a little bit more about how you as a parent can influence the mental health of your child. So welcome back, Toni.
Thank
So glad
you.
you're here. So we were kind of going down that road of yeah, parents. We had mentioned building a support system, parents
Yes.
taking action in that way. maybe collaborating, asking other parents, what are you doing? Um, but yeah, let's talk about one of the things that I really advise parents is to keep an eye on what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
because either you're influencing a mindset of a I have a relative who keeps telling their kids that, oh, you'll never be able to afford a place to live here. It's like so they all think they all have to leave the country or or they can't ever leave the house or leave the state at least because we're in California. But just things like that where they really are like, oh, I didn't know I was gonna have to move far away, that kind of thing. So
Yes.
just simple things. But life is hard.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
gonna make you right. I know. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Life is
Yeah.
hard. You have to
Weren't
work
we
hard.
all?
Yeah, life's not fair.
Yeah.
That's that, right? So yeah, what are your suggestions or what should parents do as far as like being mindful?
Absolutely. So I think it's very important that we understand that when our kids are babies, we don't know what to do other than eat, sleep, poop, and cry.
Mhm.
Everything else are things that we are taught or we learn throughout our childhood and throughout our adolescence. And so if we're kind of seeing that, hey, my child is kind of they're kind of distancing themselves, they're more anxious, like when we notice these shifts in their behaviors, it's very important for us as parents to be able to just take a step back and kind of reevaluate the different types of environments that our kids are in, because our children are like sponges, right? So we learn things in two manners, one being conscious and unconscious. When we are consciously learning something, that's like when we're teaching our kids how to ride a bike, how to tie their shoes, their ABCs. Um, we are teaching them in that moment about these different skills. However, we can also pick up on other things via unconscious, such as like an accent, right? Nobody teaches you how to pick up an accent. You just develop it based
Right.
off of the environment that you're
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah.
And
That's a good
so the
example.
same goes for other behaviors, such as sometimes emotions. When we don't teach our kids about the complexity and the variety of emotions, they will learn about emotions based off of the environments that they are in, such as the household, any type of extracurriculars that they're in, school, church, different things like that. And so it's very important that we keep an eye out on our kids and we kind of notice for any minor shifts or even major shifts in them, so that we can kind of see which environments they're learning these behaviors from. And something else that I would like to touch up on is that sometimes us as parents, we we kind of forget that our kids are sponges. And so if we continue to act in a certain type of way, or if we speak in a certain mindset, our kids are going to pick up on that same dialect, right? So if we're the type of parent where we use a lot of sarcasm, right, or we're very passive aggressive when it comes to managing conflict, our kids are going to be very similar, right? And it's kind of hard for us to notice these behaviors within ourselves,
Hmm.
and we typically will notice it when we see it in our kids. Like, oh, when did they become so sarcastic? When did they kind of
Hmm.
start to act like that? And so, as his parents, we really have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror and kind of see, okay, well, is my kid kind of mimicking any behaviors that I do on a frequent basis? So, yeah,
Well, yeah,
things to
you
think
see it.
about.
You see on TikTok where people are actually filming their kids like mouthing off like a smart ass, and you're like, that baby. Why is that baby saying that? Like, like one
Yes.
and a half year old doing this kind of thing and yelling at people
Yes,
because they
or
didn't
they're,
get
like,
their cereal
cursing and
right.
different things like that, like, and
Yeah.
and we're wondering, well, how did that kid learn that? That kid is unconsciously learning those things based off of the environment that they are in,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just so important that we are aware of the way that we are regulating our own emotions as parents, right? If we're the type of parent where we are the type to lash out, or we're the type
Hmm.
to yell or isolate or
Hmm.
disassociate. These are things that our kids are going to pick up on, and they're going to see that as the way that they can cope with their issues, right? And so
Totally.
once again, it's just important that we take a look at ourselves and understand, is there anything that maybe I may be contributing to this? Is there anything that I can do? Because once again, our kids are sponges, and they're always looking at us, whether they're 7 months old or 24, 25. Our kids are always looking up to us.
Totally. And that the yelling, that's the one where God, I see that like in parking lots. I see it all the time. And so I was raised in a family that yelled. My mom was one of 5 kids, and
Yeah.
they yelled. A lot of them they were all four of them were girls, sisters, really close in age. They all
Mhm.
yelled at each other, even as adults.
Yeah.
And then my mom and my mom's a single parent, and my sister and I, the three of us, we'd all yell at each other.
Yes.
And because that's just what we did. It was horrible, right? It's horrible. So as a parent, I had to be like, I don't want to be yelling mom. And it was so hard to like stop to not do that because you think they're not doing what you want because they can't hear what you're saying. That's not why, and you can express emotion without having to like scream at them, right? And then
Yes.
screaming, honestly, you can just see them shrivel up. And I would see people doing that to their kids in the parking lot, right? So don't be surprised when they are yelling at you now. Now they're 12 or 13 and they're starting to understand who they are. They start yelling at you and you're shocked that they would do this thing.
Yeah. Where'd they
So
learn that? They must have learned that at school, right?
right. Where did they learn that? Oh,
Mhm.
totally. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so parents speak. I also and mindset. Any other tips that like on the positive, like what things can they say to instill like optimism or empowerment?
Oh, absolutely. Filling our kids up with words of affirmations is so important, especially while they're going through puberty, they're in middle school. Middle school is tough, right? We kind of have to put our
Mhm.
mind, we kind of have to put ourselves in the shoes of our kids, and we kind of have to remember what was it like for us to go through middle school? What was it like for us to go through high school, especially with moving schools, moving cities, and all these different things. And so just kind of telling your child, I'm proud of you, right? Or noticing the good things that they're doing, just continuing to pour into them. If you see that your kid is getting really interested in music, maybe taking them to a concert or to like an orchestra, different things like that, just showing with your actions that you are passionate and you care about the things that our kids are doing, that is going to speak volume. And that is
Yes.
also going to build trust within our kids so that our kid will think, oh, okay, well, mom, dad, whoever, they're interested in me. And so maybe I can kind of tell them about some of the things that I'm experiencing, some of the things that I'm hearing about at school or with my friends. And
Mhm.
so once again, just telling them I love you. I am I see that you're working hard, your grades do not define you.
Mhm.
Different things like that are very good.
That's so awesome. So I definitely want you to speak to what MBO, what mind body optimization does also. I want to make sure to get that in there because we could talk all day, right?
Oh,
I want to
absolutely.
make
Yes.
sure we get your information out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tell
So
us about if I had a teenager or a young adult that needs help and I came to MBO, like what could you guys offer?
Oh, absolutely. So, at Mind Body Optimization, we offer a variety of services from medication management, if that's something that mom, dad, caregivers, and the child would like to explore. But we also provide individual therapy and maybe even group therapy. If we have enough adolescents and people that are interested in group therapy, we could always probably bring that together, but really just a space for the kids to come and feel free and safe so that they can talk about the things that they're going through and also learn practical and healthy coping skills such as grounding techniques,
Yes.
journaling, deep breathing, taking social media breaks. These are all different things that you can learn and practice with the accountability of a therapist. And so that's primarily what we offer here at Mind Body Optimization. I really just want to harp on the fact that us at MBO, we are client driven. And so we're not going to tell you, oh, this is what you need to do. We're going to ask you, what happened to you and what do you need? And through that, we can have a very collaborative and beautiful relationship altogether.
That's so great. That's so
Yeah.
great. Okay. So I think we still have some time. So let's give a hopefully you just gave a bunch of nuggets right there. Um, the journalings, the grounding, all of
Yes.
and then positive affirmations. Um, just do you have a good nugget? Like if I'm a mom and my kid is like in their room and they're saying they can't come out because of anxiety, like anything I can like what would you suggest I do real quick?
I would suggest, I would just suggest for you to remind your child that they're safe. A lot of
Hmm.
the time when we are dealing with the overwhelming feeling of anxiety, we think that we are in danger. And just so reminding your child, hey, this is a safe space. I love you. I want you to be
Oh.
able to talk freely, right? And also suggesting therapy. That's
Mhm.
okay. right? And if
That's
your
someone
child
else.
sees
They're not gonna
absolutely.
talk to you because maybe you don't handle it well.
Yeah, and
Get them
that's
someone
okay.
else. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think mental health is something that's very important, but also receiving quality mental health care from providers that care
Yes.
about you are even more important. And so if you are a parent and you see that your child may be struggling, I would definitely recommend for you to go out on Psychology Today, go out on Headway, go out on all these different platforms and look for a provider and allow your child to sit down with them and kind of have like a consultation, because most providers provide a free 15-minute consultation where you're able to collaborate and kind of ask any questions and just find a provider that is comfortable for you. I think that's very important.
I love that. I
Thank
love that so
you.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah, for parents, you want to like seek a support system.
Yes.
Consider outside help if you're not the voice that they're willing to open up to, because they need to open up to somebody. You got to get
Absolutely.
them out of the room. Um,
Yes.
but you definitely want to watch what you're saying, but really try to, at some point, you really want to cultivate those open lines of communication, and maybe the
Yes.
therapist can help you and get some tips, right?
Oh,
On
absolutely.
what to do. Um, because if you guys aren't able to talk when you're a teenager, you only have a certain amount of time before they just kind of leave the area. They grow up and they move out, right?
Yeah.
We can't tell you how important it is to establish those open lines of communication, even if you have to say you're sorry and you have to be the one and let them, right?
Oh, absolutely. Apologizing is so important. And also
Yes.
something else is that family therapy does exist.
Yeah.
If you're not too sure where to go, maybe starting with family therapy is a good way to kind of segue into therapy. That way you and your kids are able to talk in a space and you'll learn how to communicate appropriately with each other. And so that's also an option. And that is also something that we offer at Mind Body Optimization too.
Good.
So yeah.
Yeah. And so we just want you to prioritize it. Prioritize it while they're still young.
Yes.
Prioritize it when it gives you still have a chance to turn things around. So,
Yes.
Toni, we are out of time. I just want to thank you so much for being here. I'm just so grateful for this information. And to our listeners, thank you again for spending the time with us. I truly appreciate you listening. My name is Jen. I'm here to help. And this is Bright by Your Side, Up Leveling in the Age of Anxiety on Transformation Talk Radio.
You have been listening to Bright by Your Side with Jen, up-leveling in the age of anxiety with groundbreaking science on Transformation Talk Radio. If you are considering mental health medication for yourself or your child, please try this first. Life skills and gut health are keys to reducing anxiety. Let us show you it's easier than you think. Tune in every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time to feel optimistic about your own abilities and learn easy, proven ways to live life with ease. Become resilient to stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, and find joy. We're bringing you solutions to the problems stressing you out. We do the research for you and present it on a silver platter with a side of fun and laughter. Every show will leave you smiling, optimism, and joy in real time. To connect with Jen, visit brightbyyourside.com.